Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Ryan. In this short video, we will try to answer the question, why will God do judgment work in flesh rather than in the spirit? Due to copyright reasons, we will be referencing scriptures from a KJV version of the Bible. Let us read two Bible verses first. John 5:22 states, "For the Father judges no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son." And John 5:27 states, "And hath given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man." 2,000 years ago, Lord Jesus was in the flesh as the Son of Man, in order to redeem us, and he prophesied that he will return in the flesh a second time, to carry out the work of judgment beginning with the house of God. This means God becomes flesh twice, first time 2,000 years ago, and a second time in the last days. God will return in the flesh a second time to carry out the work of judgment, because men in the flesh cannot understand the Spirit and are not qualified to see the Spirit directly. In Exodus 20:18-19, the Bible states, "And all the people saw the thundering and the lightning and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die." From this Bible verse, we can see when the Israelites witnessed God in the Spirit, they could not understand what he was saying. All they heard was thunder and the noise of the trumpet. They were actually very scared and told Moses, "You speak with us, but don't let God speak with us, because we will die." Before men undergo the work of judgment, men are not qualified to see God in the Spirit directly. Hebrews 12:14 states, "Without holiness, no one shall see the Lord." Let us read a passage of words to understand more. No one is more suitable and qualified than God in the flesh for the work of judging the corruption of man's flesh. If judgment were carried out directly by the Spirit of God, then it will not be all-embracing. Furthermore, such work will be difficult for men to accept, for the Spirit is unable to come face to face with man, and because of this, the effects will not be immediate, much less will man be able to behold the unoffendable disposition of God more clearly. Satan can only be fully defeated if God in the flesh judges the corruption of mankind. Being the same as man possessed of normal humanity, God in the flesh can directly judge the unrighteousness of man. This is the mark of his innate holiness and of his extraordinariness. Only God is qualified to, and is in the position to, judge man, for he is possessed of the truth and righteousness, and so he is able to judge man. Those who are without truth and righteousness are not fit to judge others. We can understand only God is the truth and only God possesses righteousness. Therefore, only God in the flesh is qualified to judge and to teach the true believers. Through God in the flesh, man can understand better about our own unrighteousness. Let's read one passage of words to understand more. This was the advantage of God becoming flesh. He could take advantage of mankind's knowledge and use human language to speak to people, to express his will. He explained or translated to man his profound divine language that people struggle to understand in human language in a human way. This helped people understand his will and know what he wanted to do. He could also have conversation with people from the human perspective, using human language, and communicate with people in a way they understood. He could even speak and work using human language and knowledge, so that people could feel God's kindness and closeness, so that they could see his heart. The Spirit can only do things that are invisible to man and difficult for him to imagine. For example, the enlightenment of the Spirit, the moving of the Spirit, and the guidance of the Spirit. But for man who has a mind, these do not provide any clear meanings. They only provide a moving or a broad meaning and cannot give an instruction with words. The work of God in the flesh, however, is greatly different. It involves the accurate guidance of words, it has clear will, and has clear required goals. And so man does not need to grope around or employ his imagination, much less make guesses. This is the clarity of the work in the flesh, and its great difference from the work of the Spirit. From this passage, we can understand God in the flesh can use human language to directly water and supply us with the truth. When God returns in the flesh a second time, people no longer have to imagine or interpret what God is trying to do and what God's will is. God in the flesh can help man understand the truth more clearly. Truth expressed by God in the flesh will help mankind overcome our sinful nature. Brothers and sisters, since the Lord will return in two ways, which way shall we welcome Him so that we can enter into God's kingdom? Which way is salvation? Actually, we should not wait until we can see the Lord on the cloud to welcome His return, because He will first return secretly as the Son of Man in the flesh a second time. God comes in the flesh secretly and none knows His identity. Only true believers can recognize Him by His words. God returns in the flesh to save and cleanse a group of people and make them holy before God sends down the greatest disasters. God in the flesh is salvation for all those who are waiting for Him and can recognize His voice. Just like the days of Noah, Noah first heard God's voice to begin building the ark and preparing for the flood. All those that did not believe in God's voice and are only waiting for the evidence of the flood were eliminated by God on the day the flood came. Similarly, in the last days, God first became flesh a second time to express words to purify those who can recognize His voice. After the work of purification is complete, God will reveal Himself spiritually on the cloud to reward the good and punish the wicked. Those that have rejected God's second coming in the flesh and are simply waiting for Him to appear on the cloud will have missed the chance to be purified and will be destroyed by God. Brothers and sisters, hopefully through these series of videos, now you have a better understanding of the Lord's coming. Let me ask you a couple of questions to see how much you remember. How many times shall God become flesh? A. One time, 2,000 years ago. B. Twice. First time 2,000 years ago, and the second time in the last days. C. Not sure. The correct answer is B. 2 times. First time 2,000 years ago, and the second time in the last days. Great job, brothers and sisters. 2,000 years ago, Lord Jesus Christ came in the flesh to carry out the work of redemption, and in the last days, Lord Jesus Christ will come in the flesh a second time as the Son of Man to carry out the work of judgment beginning with the house of God. Second question. Which way shall we welcome Him so that we can enter into God's kingdom? A. We should seek and welcome Lord's return when the Lord comes back in the flesh the second time on earth in secret way. B. We should wait for the Lord's return when He comes upon the cloud publicly. C. We should see the signs, the star fall down and the sun turn dark when He returns with great glory. The correct answer is A. We should seek and welcome the Lord's return when the Lord comes back in the flesh the second time on earth in the secret way. By the time we see Lord Jesus Christ on the cloud, it will be too late. The Bible tells us when people see God on the cloud, they will wail because they know they have missed God's purification and will be eliminated by God. Brothers and sisters, through Lord Jesus Christ's words, we can see that the key to welcome the Lord's return is to recognize His voice. Lord Jesus Christ told us, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me." Are you willing to be wise virgins to welcome His return? Please join our next sermon to learn about how to hear Lord's voice to welcome His return. See you at our next sermon, brothers and sisters. Bye bye.